Right, building on what you're saying right here, I mean, I want to ask you another question. A few months ago, you said something that really stuck with me. You said, and too much of what you've just said, Hamas represents the deepest Palestinian ethos. What it means to be a Palestinian is first and foremost to believe that anywhere between the river and the sea, there should not be a Jewish state. That is the deepest marker of the Palestinian identity. And I think for many in the room, certainly for me over the years, the way that you're able to explain these things, it's very clear. And I think that's one of the things that people appreciate about you most, is how clear you can explain some of these issues which are otherwise described as complicated. Why is it then, in your view, that this is something that most people seem unwilling to accept?
So unwilling is a good word here. One of the biggest Westplaining moments after October 7th is that Hamas doesn't represent the Palestinians. I remember when President Biden came to Israel, I'm sure you remember, that was a moment when we thought we'd be slaughtered from every direction. We really appreciated him coming, saying don't, bringing the aircraft carriers. And he went through talking about the atrocities committed by Hamas and the Palestinians from Gaza. And then he went on to say, but Hamas doesn't represent the Palestinians. And I remember hearing it in real time and thinking, we're going to pay dearly for that sentiment. And one of my main criticisms of the Israeli government is that they caved in and surrendered rather than stand up to that. Because as a result, it made it impossible for us to wage the war in any effective way. I compare it to America in December 1941, declaring that it has no problem with the Japanese racial supremacist imperial ideology, and it's now going to go after the kamikazes. That's it. So this was a moment that I would have wanted an Israeli prime minister to say, thank you, President Biden, for everything that you're doing for us. Unfortunately, Hamas does represent the Palestinians. We'd love to hear otherwise, but the burden of proof is on them. We'd be happy to examine if new evidence emerges, but right now, all the evidence is that October 7th led to a wave of euphoria. And Hamas did it because they knew it would be popular. They are of their people. People want to pretend that there's some alien force that landed and took over. No, they are from their people. They represent the deepest ethos. They are the most brutal and most recent executors of that ethos, but it is the Palestinian ethos. We went back to 47, 48, the perpetrators of the massacre of the Israeli athletes in the Munich Olympics. Hamas is not some new phenomenon. And I think the message should have been, the burden of proof is on them. And until we see evidence to the contrary, we are going to wage this war with the understanding that Gaza is our enemy, that Palestinianism is an enemy ideology. And you said about people unwilling to see it, and this has been for me the greatest question, because you're right, it's actually very clear. And as I said, to the credit of Palestinians, on this issue, they never lie. They will lie on everything else, famine, Gaza open-air prison, whatever, but on this, they don't lie. But, so sometimes I find myself really questioning what is going on, because it's so out there to see. And again, this is why I love the statement so much. You stated things that should be so obvious, and yet so many people are unwilling to see it. So sometimes I have to share with you, after October 7th, a more sinister thought had entered my mind, which is, could it be that people who fund UNRWA support Palestinianism? Could it be that they're not ignorant, that it's not that they don't know what they're doing? Could it be that they actually know what they're doing, and they find it very convenient to outsource their animosity, their ambivalence to the idea of Jewish sovereignty through Palestinianism.